So my name's Genevieve McArthur. I'm an Associate Professor at Maquarie University, more specifically at the ARC Centre of Excellence in Cognition and Disorders. And I direct the event-related potential and the fixation-related potential laboratory at Maquarie University, or in the CCD in particular. And what we do is we record the electrical activity coming out of people's heads to measure their brain responses to different stimuli, to work out basically how people process information in their brains. And so the reason why Emotive, which is a brain-computer interface that's been recently developed, is interesting to us is because typically equipment for measuring brain responses is very expensive. It has to be inserted into a lab. It costs a lot to do a single brain scan with a person, which really restricts the type number of people that you can test for their brain responses. And so these new brain-computer interfaces, such as Emotive, are very portable, they're very inexpensive, they're lightweight, you can take them out into the street, you can take them into shopping centres and test people, you can use them at home. And so they're offering a new way, or opening up new avenues of doing research with lots and lots of people rather than just a few people, and also working with special populations who might find that, a big lab very intimidating.
I'm Pip Jones, Product Innovation Director at Deepend. I'm really interested in the emotive system and brain control interfaces generally. I have a background in artificial intelligence, which is all about human-computer interface. So I'm looking forward to the day when we don't have to click on things and type. Voice recognition is one step towards that, but then actually listening to the brain is the next step of integration. So it's very exciting to see that there are now games being developed that can use these headsets to control characters and so on.
Well, there's lots of different ways that the brain has been measured over the years, but this particular technology is coming from electroencephalography and not so much event-related potential, it's more EEG. The emotive system is quite unusual in that it has quite a lot of electrodes for one of these kind of headsets. Some of them just use one electrode with a reference, and it's using the frequencies in the electrical activity coming from people's brains to control devices. There's a behaviour computer interface, so basically you depend on people's behaviour, like pressing keys or using the mouse, to operate the computer, tell it what you want it to do. But what these BCIs are doing is they're measuring brain responses directly from the brain, and that is the thing that's talking to the computer, rather than the brain controlling the behaviour, which is controlling the computer. And so with these gaming BCIs, what they're doing is I don't think they expect you just to be using your brain. They almost use your brain as an extra key, an extra set of keys. So while you're doing all of this with your gaming, whatever you do, you're also using brain responses, like moderating your brain responses as an extra kind of key, so you can have even more control over your character or avatar, or whatever it is that you're doing.
I think that's a really important approach at the moment, because they're not really working very well at the moment, and it's very difficult to get instant control. So with a key, you hit a key and the character moves in a certain way, whereas with the current BCIs, you try to push or you pull, and it takes a few seconds to actually kick in. It's very loose and fuzzy, so it's not at the moment really good enough to be able to run someone around a maze, for example. So what the Emotive guys have come up with is something called Affective, which is their trademark, which is about modifying a game's kind of feeling towards the way the player is kind of feeling. So if you're excited, they might ramp up the music, but it wouldn't necessarily be controlling the character. Maybe in future, when BCIs get a lot more tightly integrated with the brain, we'll be able to have someone running around a maze and you're controlling their feet, as if you're running yourself, and that would be intense. But at the moment, it's not good enough. You could probably train an Emotive headset, the Epoch headset, to dial a telephone. Having it in the mainstream with people out there, walking down the road with this technology, is probably a few years away, because you need to miniaturise that. You've got to get rid of having to, lubricate the electrodes and all that sort of thing. If the phone itself had some sort of brainwave sensor in it that was reliable enough when you're on the phone to be able to transmit some sort of reliable information, then then that would make it happen a lot quicker. But it's getting that technology out there and getting it really, really super simple. It's not until it's like a Wii remote that people will start to use it. You know, even the emotive, there's a barrier to entry there. People spending $500 and then having to oil it up before they put it on, and all the training, all that sort of stuff. Disabilities and gaming are the two areas that are leading the market and will lead the market. The Cyberdyne HAL suit, I think, is a great example of that. It's an exoskeleton, and if you're paralysed, then you need an alternate input to the computer. You need a different type of interface. So having a brain interface on an exoskeleton is perfect. You can't use a keyboard or another way of interacting with an exoskeleton. So military. How can I forget military? Military, disabilities and gaming will probably be the lead technologies that take it forward. But once you've got a direct control over a computer with your mind, really the possibilities are limitless, aren't they? You could do anything. You know, you could have a virtual keyboard inside virtual reality that you're typing with your virtual hands. You could have a virtual character that runs around, and so you could use all your natural instincts for controlling your own body on a virtual character. And that could be one way of simplifying the training. You don't have to train these abstract third arm sort of concepts that we were talking about just now. Maybe you'll just have a homunculus that lives inside the computer, and that's who you control. And they run around doing sort of physical things. So you might end up having a physical, not just a desktop, you might have a physical room inside your computer, and you think the person inside your computer to go around and shuffle papers around and photocopy things. You know, it could end up being more real than real life.